Justin Okamoto.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Good to see you all. It's actually, there's a few faces here that haven't quite seen for a little while. So thank you for being here. This is really exciting to see people coming back to service. And it's always nice to get together on Sunday. And I don't know about you, but recently I've been really feeling that there's just so much going on in the providence. It seems God is very busy, right? Our true parents are very busy. There was the holy, the cosmic Hyojan blessing, right, in April. And then there was a rally of hope, and we had a victory ceremony. And just this past week, we had a summit, a pastor summit right here in East Garden that a few of us was able to attend. And I was able to attend myself as well. And it was a really inspiring event. One of the highlights for me was seeing the chastening ceremony, the indemnity stick ceremony. One of our brothers, we call him Heavenly Green now. He really gave his wife a smack on the butt. And I was like, oh wow, I never saw that before, because I'm a second generation, so we didn't really go through that process. But everyone was kind of just laughing and kind of sharing, like, wow, this is kind of a funny, interesting thing to do. But it has so much meaning to it, right? But I felt I was really grateful to be able to witness it and see these pastors, these Christian pastors, like willingly go through all of these steps of the blessing. Was for me so reviving. It's like it really gave me so much hope for what we're doing in the future that we're moving into. And then also this next week, there's the 21st anniversary of ACLC. It's going to happen in Las Vegas. And then, of course, the June 5th event that's going to be coming up to celebrate the blessing, the Peace and Blessing Festival. So there's just a lot going on, especially a lot going on in America. And for some of us, this might be incredibly exciting and hopeful. You might feel like, wow, so much is moving. Other people might be feeling challenged or a little bit stressed out. This is a time to kind of activate ourselves, to mobilize, to challenge ourselves. And then some of us might feel like there's a train going at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and we're looking at that train go so quickly, and we're not quite sure if we want to get on the train. Or some of us might feel like, well, I kind of want to get on, but I'm not really sure how to. And so I don't want to pretend like we're all feeling the same things, because I'm sure there's a lot of different emotions going on right now. But what I do want to say is that however we feel about what's going on in the providence, however we feel about life, it doesn't change the way that God feels, that our Heavenly Parent feels about us, right? That no matter how we're feeling, God's love is always with us. It's always unchanging towards us, that God absolutely loves us. No matter what we're feeling right now, no matter where we are in our life, in our journey. And we're all in this journey together as a community. Hachu? So today, this service, I wanted to share about a community of blessed families. And I wanted to do something a little bit different this Sunday, because I know there's a lot of education going on already. We have our daily morning devotions. We have the National Family Service. And so I feel I want to take this time to not just for me to speak, but to hear from some of our community members as well. And so I've asked a few people to speak today. So look forward to hearing from a few people, a few different perspectives. And I just want to say for myself, since stepping into this role as the assistant pastor, it's been about 4 months. About 4 months. So I started in February. Honestly, it feels like something completely new, even though this is technically my second time as assistant pastor. But the community has, you could say, evolved or changed a lot in just the past 4 years that I've been gone, and especially in the past year, with COVID, and in the past 6 months with new leadership, right? There's been a lot of changes that we've had to adjust ourselves to. And personally, I've been trying to understand since I've been back to America what my role in America is, what my role in this local community is as an assistant pastor, and I want to just share honestly with all of you today. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
I believe that Heavenly Parent works when there's honesty and when there's sincerity. When nothing's hidden, that's where God can really come in. And so I always want to do my best while I'm here, while I have the privilege of being here to not just show a nice face or something that looks nice, but to show an honest picture of my own life and how God is working in my life and what God is teaching me in my life. And one of the challenges that has come up for me since being back is, remembering what the community was like, 4 years ago. Just even in this room, right? We had at least 100 people in the service, and it was very, very lively and kind of warm. And when I'd give a sermon, it was nice to see people's smiling faces, right? Because I could know if I was doing a good job up here. My sermon was landing, people would smile, and now I kind of really have to look at people's eyes and see, are they getting this? Or some people give me the, they'll nod at me. Okay, thank you. I'm grateful for those people that a little more expressive, right? But there's a lot to kind of get used to in this new way of doing things. And honestly, I do miss, I miss seeing people. I miss getting together. There's a lot of people that in this community that I haven't seen in a long time. I haven't seen a lot of people since I've been back. I know that they're still around and, watching, but I do miss seeing people in person. I do miss, I'm not gonna lie, I miss hugs. I don't know about you guys, but I miss hugging people. I miss being close to people. And I miss, just gathering together and, not worrying so much about, is this okay to gather? Is it right or wrong? But I'm not sharing this to offend anybody or to say, that to anybody watching online. I totally get it. And all I want you to know, if you're watching from online or if you're here, is that I really appreciate your presence, is that really matters to me. And that I really miss people. And that, I'm really sorry if I didn't always appreciate, people's presence. I'm realizing more and more how valuable that is. And maybe that's something that I'm learning through this whole experience, actually, is to be grateful just for the presence of people. Because, that's so valuable in itself, that God just brings us together like this. So even though, we're facing challenges, I'm facing challenges, I do believe that God will work, and God is working through this circumstance and this challenge. And I've experienced in my own life, and I know from our true parents' teaching that sometimes things do need to go down before they can go up. Sometimes things need to be mixed up a little bit. Sometimes there needs to be clearing of space for something new to emerge, for new possibilities to develop. And so I do believe that the time that we're living in is incredibly important. And it is a time to reimagine maybe what is possible. We are, of course, resourceful people, and we're finding ways to connect with God and connect with as a community together. There's the National Family Service, right? And the daily morning devotions. There's the Zoom meetups and the online holy communities. And, Noah's doing an amazing program online using Zoom, teaching divine principle. And really, if we wanted to, we could be on a Zoom meeting every single day. If you really wanted to, every morning and every night, probably, we could find a Zoom meeting to join. We can find a way to connect. So in this age that we're living in, kind of like it's a very digital age. It's a very global age. It's an age where we can connect with each other. I think it's important to ask the question, is there still room in this age for local communities? Is there room in our hearts, in our minds, in our schedules for a local community? What do you think? Is there room for local communities? Is there still a purpose to a local community?
Yes.
Yeah, to me, the answer is absolutely yes. That there's something that a local community can provide, an experience that a local community provides that can never be replaced. And just being together, there's a way that God can come into our lives when we are together. That I believe there's no other way to go about that. And so I believe it is important that we start to really think about coming back together and what that's going to look like and how we can come back together and what it is that is going to bring us together again. So I was thinking about kind of being together, and that this not just like physically, but the feeling of our hearts feeling like we're together, like we're in this together. And I was thinking, when in my life have I felt this feeling of brotherhood, sisterhood, and being together, like on a team, right? Being close. And one example that I thought about was back in high school when I was on the wrestling team. Some of you didn't know that I was a wrestler. These biceps didn't, grow overnight. But I was a wrestler back in high school, and I started off as a 96-pound weight class. So I was the smallest guy in the team. And in the beginning, I was lucky that I didn't have to go through what a lot of my teammates had to go through, which is constantly watching your weight. Because I was naturally around 90 pounds at the time, actually. So I was eating whatever I want. My teammates are looking at me like, oh, you jerk. But eventually, I started to naturally get bigger, and I started to have to do what my teammates had to do, which is cut weight and watch what I'm eating. And we had all sorts of ways of doing that. Of course, it was just like straight up like fasting, cutting out meals. A big one was like dehydrating yourself, so not drinking water. And it was difficult. And I remember one time I was at a match, and I had to go weigh myself, and I was just 1 pound over to qualify. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I eat last night? But I did what many of my teammates had to do, which is I put a plastic bag on, I put three jackets on, and I started running. Just started running to shed the pounds. And eventually I was able to make weight and do what I came there to do. But, even though it was very difficult to wrestle, I appreciated one of the things that I really appreciated was this sense of brotherhood in the team. And, we'd always get together and we would be able to trade stories about our experiences of our shared suffering, of, what did you eat last night? I just ate like a little piece of chicken. Oh, I just ate ice cubes. Like, oh man, you're hardcore. Like be able to share in our different ways of getting through our hardship, getting through our suffering, and succeeding in what we were there to do. So I thought about, what was it that brought us together is that we had this kind of shared, we had a shared game that we were playing in a sense, right? This sport that we had the same goal together. And we also had common rules that we had to follow together. And we had a common desire to win as a team, right? And so I was thinking about it, these are some aspects that really bring us together, is to have a common game to play, a common goal to go after, common rules to follow, and also this common desire that we're all going to win this together. And so I thought, so how about us as a community, the Belvedere community, as our movement as a whole, what is kind of the game that we get to play together that's going to bring us together? And in some sense, for us, it really is the blessing, right? This is this kind of this goal that we are all united together in to succeed as blessed families. And so what does that look like to play this game of being a blessed member, blessed family? Is this a solo game or is this a team game? What do you think?
Team game.
Yeah, I believe it's a team game. I think it's a game that's meant to be played together. It's something that we're supposed to be in this together. And what is our arena? If we had every game kind of has an arena. Our arena is, you could say, it's the family, right? This is where we really go at it to fight our battles and to win and to have victory. But beyond that, right? If we want to expand beyond that, it goes into the community, it goes into the society. And then, if you're an athlete, every sport, no matter what you're playing, there's a training ground, right? There's a gym that you go to so that you can improve yourself, that you can get stronger. But also that's a place where you can share with people who are playing the same game, where you can grow together. And so for us, our gym is kind of right here. It's our local communities. It's the place where we come together to share our stories with one another, to support each other, and to encourage one another when things get difficult, right? So again, today, rather than sharing, a standard sermon, I really wanted to take some time to honor this, what we're doing together, this common goal, this common game, the blessing, and to hear about the different experiences that our community members have gone through. And my hope is that, one of the ways that we can reimagine our community is really a community that shares with each other, that really has this desire to contribute whatever we have to contribute to each other, our experience, our perspective, our just our thoughts, right? We all have a story to tell and a story to contribute. And I hope we can become a community that can share honestly with each other and listen and to support. So I've asked several people at all different stages of the blessing. Some people are just newly blessed. They just went to the blessing. Some of them have been blessed for quite some time. I hope we can enjoy to hear about their experiences. But also, I just really appreciate them for accepting my invitation, because it does take something to get up here and share. I definitely know that it takes courage, right, to come up here, and it takes overcoming something for anybody to come up here and to share. So the first people that I'd like to invite up is Mr. Charles Patterson, Uncle Charles, and his daughter Sunny. Charles is kind of like God, he is he's always in the background making everything work, but we don't always notice what he's contributing. He's always doing so much for the community, so I always appreciate him. And Sunny is very similar. She's always supporting somehow in the background. I think she's inherited a lot of Uncle Charles's wonderful characteristics. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome up Uncle Charles and Sunny to share about their experience with the blessing.
Good afternoon. You want to go first? Hi, everybody. So it's good to be here. Thank you, Justin, for inviting us. So when I consider the word blessing, I think not just the holy blessing, but blessings are really, it's an opportunity. If you receive a blessing, even if someone just, gave you, a few $1,000s, maybe you think it's a blessing, but it's an opportunity to do something. So it's not like our blessing is not something you put on a shelf, like a trophy, put it on the shelf. That's it. Now I'm done. It doesn't work like that, right? If you have an opportunity to buy a house or build a house, once you move in, and if you haven't done this yet, it doesn't stop there. If you own a house, it's constant maintenance. There's constant work. I've been doing a lot of work around my house. So we have gutter guards in the gutter to keep sticks and leaves from. So I hadn't looked at them for quite a long time. So I went up and I looked, and they're all covered with sticks and leaves, and the gutter was clogged. And I started doing some research, and I found there's one guy online who was explaining. He said a lot of people complain about their gutter guards, and they say, "Oh, I put in this plastic thing I got at Home Depot, and it just doesn't work," you know. And he says, he's saying, no, it actually works perfectly. It's not supposed to eliminate maintenance. It's just supposed to make your maintenance a little easier. I thought that applies in a lot of things in life, right? You know, so I looked at it that way. And I thought, oh, that's true. Another analogy, this might seem a little impersonal, but if you think about applying for a job, you can think, oh, there's this ideal job, and I found that, you know, there's a company that I really want to work for, and you feel you have the qualifications, you've worked hard, you've studied, you got it, whether you have a degree or whatever, you go, okay, I'm going to apply for this job. That's not it. You then have to be interviewed, and then you have to be accepted. You know, then you're accepted at the job. You start your work. Is that over? That is not over, right? That's just the beginning. Now you're going to have to really show what you're made of. You have to really be creative. You're going to have to show, you know, and there's going to be, in life, there's going to be good times. There's going to be difficulties. An important thing is going to be how you handle the difficulties. I feel that way a lot about the blessing, too. Even in the national service, I think somebody testified that in the beginning, they thought, you know, early days of the church, I thought, oh, the blessing is going to be like magic, you know. So magic, I'll tell you right now, magic doesn't have magic. I studied a lot of magic, like magic tricks over the years, because I like to know what goes on behind the scenes. If you see a magician do something clever with his hands, he practiced for years and years and years to be able to do that, you know, and he probably failed many times, right? So it's similar in our blessing. So to say that we have a success in the blessing, it's not that you say, oh, at some certain point I have success, now I can sit back and relax. That's not the way it works. It's more like having success is your constant day-to-day, minute-by-minute, day-to-day effort to work on it. That's how you judge. That's how you can see, oh, I'm growing, because it doesn't stop. The blessing is not, you know, say, oh, well, I've been blessed for 3 years, so I'm successful. Anybody who's been blessed for more than 4 years knows that's not true. You know, so what is it, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? No, it never ends. And that's part of the joy of it, too. It's something that doesn't end. So when you're able to find the happiness and the joy in that regard, and you know it doesn't end, that to me, that gives me even more desire to face the challenges, face the struggles, and keep going, because I know that there's, you know, more good things coming. You know, we're building a lineage, so the work doesn't end, but also the joy doesn't end. So that's kind of my thought on those things. Now, I probably make her embarrassed now for what she has to say.
It's fine.
Oh, and I say, so her husband, Nick, is in the back, so she's even more embarrassed. You know?
Thank you. So I was keeping in mind like an idea of like, what am I grateful for in the blessing? And one of the main things, which you've mentioned earlier, Justin, is there's a clear goal in the blessing. And I've always liked that it was clearly for building a family and having a long life together. Growing up and seeing things outside of the general church culture, there's a lot of hookup culture. So, but I wanted a family, so I I can't imagine like walking up to someone's like, "Hi, you're cute. Would you like to make a family with me sometime?" With the blessing, there's like when parents talk with each other and things like that, there's a clear goal in mind of like trying to build artistically something that will be long lasting. And it's wonderful to already know that there's a base together when you're talking to the other person for the matching process, that there's a base in education thought, and we can be honest and upfront about some of these long-term questions near the beginning. We can build a relationship with a clear goal in mind and with sincerity. And the other thing I'm very grateful for are the programs that are meant for young adults. I've been to 2 24+ retreats, and it's good for like looking for another person, but it's also self-growth because it also brings points about growing yourself and knowing what you might need in a partner relationship and what you might need to bring forward to that partner relationship. I learned about myself. It was a comfortable environment to ask questions among peers that are also looking at the same things, or peers that have already been through it because they're led by blessed couples. I would hear testimonies of other blessed couples and how their matching processes were and how everyone's process is different. So the more testimonies I heard, the more comfortable I was with getting into the matching process, because there's really no wrong way besides like just don't not ask questions, basically. Just learn about each other and keep that process going. And yeah, and so with things like the 24+ and even like other young adult retreats like the core retreat, Connecting Our Roots, is also helps build myself as a person while still in a work environment where there's no real like, there's youth ministry, but like not everyone can be just a staff member or whatever. It's like once in a while you might need to like come back to Connecting to Our Roots is what it's called, the core retreat. So I'm really grateful for those kinds of programs to help connect and rebuild, and I'm
That's community.
that's community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Uncle Charles and Sunny. All right, so the next person who's going to share is Sister Grace Ross, who's also on the council and a wonderful sister of ours. She's also recently blessed in this past blessing. So let's welcome up Grace Ross.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Justin asked me if I wanted to share, and I hesitated a long time because I knew if I came up here, I kind of knew the types of faces I would see. Many people who know much more about the blessing than I do, because I've only been blessed for 3 weeks now. So it's a little bit intimidating. So I thought, wow, what can I share with you guys anyway? Anyway, I thought I would share my story. Maybe some of your kids have a similar story to me. So that's what I was thinking. And also, I was also thinking, this really is my community. And I know, also when I look out at all of you, I know that you guys are all really rooting for me and my blessing. And I'm really grateful for that, actually. So, and I'm 33 years old, and I was looking for somebody for a long time, actually, maybe like over 4 years. And that's why I know you guys really are rooting for me, because I really felt that through that time. So, so it was really tough, actually, to stay positive. You know, every year at New Year's, I would think about my resolutions, and I would think, maybe this year I'll try to make it happen, try to find somebody. But I didn't really know how to do that, because it's not really totally in your hands to find the right person. And I felt like it was a little bit magical, and it could be very tough. So it was tough, but then I got to a point where I felt like, you know what, actually, I got to a point of gratitude in my life where I felt like even if this doesn't work out for me, I actually have a lot of great things going for me. So I have a wonderful family, and I have a great community. I have a great job, and I'm actually I felt like I'm already a very fortunate, blessed person in my life. It took me a while to get there, but when I got there, I felt a sense of peace. And then, not too long after that, I got a call from my dad's spiritual child, Marjorie Busing, Aunt Marjorie, and she said she wanted to meet with me, and she wanted to help me get blessed. And she had just stepped down from her providential role, and she said, "Now I have time, and this is what I want to do with my time. I want to help you get blessed." So I was like, "Okay, all right, let's meet." And she kind of kicked my butt a little bit. She said, "You're getting comfortable here, but you need to. This is not what God wants for you. He wants you to have a family, and to experience that." Everything that comes with the blessing. And she encouraged me to form a matching team. And I made a team, and she connected me with, I connected with Masai-san and Taiko-san. They became my matching advisors. And also I put several friends on my team, and every week I would write to them. And I was a little intimidated by that. Like, how can you work on getting blessed every week? What do you do every week? It doesn't really work that way, There's only so many leads in our community, But anyway, I ended up, it kind of was a very healing process for me. And I started sharing what's going on in my life with these people so they can better pray for me and look for me. And it was really... it really started to change the energy in my life. And then also, then COVID happened. So, before COVID, I was, always busy, doing different things on the weekends. There's a lot going on, and busy at work. And how much am I? A lot. I didn't spend so much time on my spiritual life necessarily. So. But then, suddenly I had a month where I had no work and also no social engagements. So I thought, wow, this is the opportunity I really needed to focus on spiritual things and health. And I really felt I felt really connected to God, and I had some really sincere prayers with God, asking to really send somebody to me. Then I went to the virtual 24 plus. I was going to go to a 24 plus retreat, but suddenly it went virtual. Surprise. Yeah, everything went virtual this year. So, when I was there, I met Ace Tanaka. He's that guy next to me in the picture. So, he's from Los Angeles. And, actually, when I met him, I think some of my other friends that are more in the secular world, they would have said don't even spend my time with him, because he's 4 years younger than me. And when I met him, the first time I met him, he was still in school. And then that was a 24 plus a year earlier. And then when I met him a year later, he had just graduated, and he didn't have a job yet. He had a job, and his offer got canceled for COVID. So he was job hunting all over again. And he was living at home. And when I would talk with him on Zoom, I could see his bunk bed in his room where his brother lived. So a lot of other 33-year-old girls, when they meet at brunch and they talk about, who they're dating or something, they don't even want to consider a guy like that, I really thought about it, and with the guidance from my matching advisors, I felt like a lot of those things were temporary, I could really see his hardworking character and his kindness and his generosity. And I knew that, and he did graduate college, so I knew that it wasn't his prospects in life were going to be bad forever. It was just for now. And I could really see in him character that was going to be really good for a life together. And I feel really secure with his kind of, he was very consistent with always, we would always talk together very consistently. And I really admired his dedication and felt really safe in that. So, anyway, most of our communication was virtual for a long time because he lives in California and we couldn't really fly to see each other very much. So by the time I actually met him, we knew each other pretty well. We had been talking from April to November. I think we had been talking maybe 6 or 7 months already. So, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to share a couple things that I appreciate about the blessing. So, because there were many times where I thought, maybe I should give up on the blessing. Maybe I should just find anybody to get married to, because it was a long road, you know. But yeah, one thing I realized is that there's many kinds of marriages in this world. Like all kinds of everybody's marriage is unique. And not all of them are based in the ideals I was raised with. And I realized that we have very high ideals in our blessing. It's eternal, and even after we pass away, it's not till death do us part. It's for forever, and and we're not just trying to be married to make each other happy. We want to serve the world and further God's purpose in our lives and in our community and in the whole world. I think that's really beautiful. And I think if I want to get married, then I want to make it the best marriage. So I think we have maybe the blessings, really striving for something pretty fantastic. So I was inspired by that. And one other thing that I really appreciate, or that I could see was really valuable, is one of our teachings. We have a teaching that whenever a problem arises in a relationship, even if in your mind it's something that you think there's no way we can overcome it, or you think it's not in my court at all, we think we ignore that completely, right? We say, it doesn't matter if it looks like it's the other person, or if it looks like it's impossible. If we put our whole heart and energy into it, something will move, something will change, and we can make a difference always in the situation. So I think that's a very powerful ideal that we have. We don't always practice it. It's not so easy to practice, to think. It's very easy to think the other person needs to fix everything, but at least we have that thinking. So we've been taught that idea. So I think that's one thing I really value about the blessing. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Grace. That was an amazing journey, and thank you for sharing. So we have one final person to share about their experience of the blessing, and that is our very own Rob Kitchens. Let's welcome him up.
Justin asked me to talk, and I really had to go through a lot of, I didn't really, I just had to make a decision. I mean, it came down to making a decision, but I was blessed in 1982 in Korea, and to Hiromi Kitchens, Hiromi Ogata, and anyway, to start with, I wanted to say, when I came to the unification movement, my only values are what I observed. I was raised very kind of loosely Christian. To put it honestly, my mom would take me to church please my dad's mother, my grandmother, because she was pretty devout Christian, and so, but I just wanted to say that the values that I had were just observation of my family, and seeing what was happening in the culture. And of course, there were some Christian values imbued in that. But really, I just wanted to state that the first experience of hearing the three blessings, taught by our brother Noah here, just about 40 years ago, 41 years ago. Yeah, anyhow, that was really a catatonic experience for me the first time. I mean, of course, at first it took some time, but it was really a liberating situation to think of the value of the purpose of life, and so that's something to really come back to. That people grow up in many different circumstances, but to have a real sense of purpose. Why are you here? That's an important thing, and I think that it gives context, because people grow up in all sorts of situations in a lot of with a lot of what's the word when you have many different situations, a lot of pain, a lot of difficult circumstances. And so, as we observe our current state of affairs and what's being propagated in this 2021 culture, for what's what's right and what's purposeful, I think that we really have some here. But anyway. So as many people know, my wife went to the other side, or ascended, I should say. She ascended, and I really know that she ascended. And so, my life, Jeremy just graduated college at Binghamton, and now he's trying to figure out what he's going to do, because he doesn't want to be a teacher. And a math major doesn't have much to do unless they teach. So he's trying to figure it out. But he's going into programming, so he's trying to figure that out too. But it took 4 years for him to. He initially went in, and it was dumbfounded. So he went math, because he figured he had some foundation. But anyhow, So I guess like you said about going to bed every night and clearing the slate. It sounds nice, but the reality is that it's not an easy thing to do. Anyhow, my wife really she was given a big responsibility by being put in my court. So she really went through a lot, and as a result, she became a saint. She really, to put up with this guy, she deserves that place in life, or that respect. So my situation, I feel like I wanted to come here to try to give some perspective, because like I said about putting things to bed and really regenerating my sense of purpose on a daily basis with my wife. We were she was in my life for 35 years physically, and so we went through a lot of things, but it was really by the grace of God, I've always felt a commitment, even in the difficulty of putting the spiritual in front of the physical, aspects. But life now, life after the passing, you have a lot of time alone and you're thinking of things in perspective. But it's really interesting, now when I think about her, I really sense, it's hard to differentiate it, but I feel a feeling of love, and it's coming from within. It's actually almost a physical. Well, it's not really a physical feeling, but you sense it, and a lot more than what I did while she was on Earth, because I took a lot of things for granted, and it's important to really consider that. So it's an important important thing to always look at the blessing that you have, and really realize at all times that you are really standing in a special position. Being present in front of this person who is challenging, but ultimately the goal is to become one with God and one with the universe, one with mankind, and through that, and your spouse is your representative, direct representative to do that. So, it's my life has kind of changed a lot. I changed my situation. I sold my house, and I'm living in the basement of my house, and it's interesting. The people that I sold it to have become sort of it's just an interesting thing, because when we asked them to move in 2014, I did it. They met us, and both me and Hiromi kind of felt this is really from God. Just a sense that they came into our lives. We felt there's a good purpose for it. So so I'm still living at the house because I was trying to figure out what to do. But with COVID coming, and the circumstances changing a lot, I decided to stay put. But I was thinking of going elsewhere, moving somewhere. But life goes on, and every day has its new inspirations and new perspectives that come before me. But I really do miss having somebody nagging me. Really. I do, because I live, if anybody came over and came to my apartment, they would see the value of having a clean person nagging you, because I'm kind of, I don't have that characteristic, and it doesn't really bother me. I don't really think about it, but I need to put things in action, but the reality is that there is a perspective in life to keep a man civilized. So anyhow, so I'm kind of losing my civility, but anyway, I am I think it's just important to really value people in the community, and I hope that by being here and giving some perspective that you can gain something from it, and for your own life, and I hope actually a lot of Hiromi's friends are here, and I'm looking at them, and some of her close friends. So anyhow, thanks for the opportunity to speak, and that's it.
Thank you, Uncle Rob. Yeah, I was really moved by just your heart and your courage to share. I know it's not always easy, and yeah, we all miss Hiromi a lot, and we love her so much. So thank you for sharing. So one more time, let's give all the people who shared a round of applause. Thank you so much. So And brothers and sisters, I think it's really important that we never forget, what is really bringing us together, and how important it is that we have this shared blessing that we can share together. Because in this world that we're living in, there's just so much divisiveness in the environment. You take a look at your news app, and right away the headlines is all about divisiveness. It's all about different sides fighting each other. It's about nations fighting each other. It's about marriages breaking down and divorces, and it's so easy to look at the world and to really lose that hope. To really feel like how is this all going to resolve itself? How is this really going to work out? But what I realized is that it's really the stories that we surround ourselves that color our view of the world. When we surround ourselves with negativity, with divisiveness, there's no way of not seeing that everywhere we go. It's like the lens from which we're seeing the world is colored by those stories. And so, for me, it's so important that we surround ourselves with the stories that really matter to us, with the stories from our brothers and sisters, stories of commitment, stories of love, stories of overcoming challenges, stories of longing and stories of love, and stories about this blessing that we share. Because we need to, choose the words that we allow into our life, because it's the words that are going to create our internal world. And then whatever's going on internally, that's going to manifest into the world. And so I'm so grateful that we have this community, this place that we can share our stories with one another. We can learn from one another, and we can have a shared experience together that we call the blessing. So I just want to encourage really that we keep sharing our blessing story. Again, I want to just say that I know it's not always easy to share. I know each and every person who shared today, they had to overcome something inside. Anytime we're asked to contribute, there's always a voice inside that gives us a reason not to, right? I don't know if what I'm going to share has any value to it. Is this really going to make a difference? Does anybody really want to hear my story? We've got all of these doubts coming up in our mind, right? The minute when we're thinking there's a possibility to contribute something. But we have to overcome that internal struggle. We have to overcome that thought and know that God wants to receive our offering. God has that heart that whatever your heart wants to offer, God wants to receive it. And it doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's really about the heart that you have. So I want to just thank the people who shared. I really want to thank their heart more than anything, that they have the heart to share. And I hope that we can create a community that has a heart to share, a heart to listen, a heart to contribute to one another. I do want to say that there's this upcoming event on June 5th. I did talk to Dr. Kone, and we are planning to have a watch party here in Belvedere. So if you'd like to come and gather together to enjoy that event and to invite people, and in addition to the 42 minutes, we'll have some more people, a couple people to share testimonies. Maybe we can get some of our Christian pastors to also share their testimony going through the blessing, so that we can really allow this to become a community experience. There were so many things that were shared today, and I hope that you could receive something in your heart. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for being here in this journey and playing this game together with me, because I don't want to do this alone. And I'm just so grateful that we can do it together. So thank you, and God bless. And I'll offer a prayer to close. Our most beloved Heavenly Parent and true parents, we want to thank you so much on this day that we can share together as a community, Heavenly Parents. We have no idea what's inside of your mind, your vision for what a local community looks like, what it's supposed to look like, what you wanted it to look like when we come together, beyond the family, and we'd come and we'd support each other. And We know that you had a vision for every aspect of our life, something good, something beautiful. And Heavenly Parents, we're just trying things, and we're trying to discover, bit by bit, what that is and what that looks like, and how we can experience everything that you wanted us to experience in this life, Heavenly Parent. So grateful that we could experience this together, that we can share together. We can open up our hearts and allow you to speak through each and every person, Heavenly Parents. And I just pray that each person here, every person watching and listening to this, can really have that confidence in their heart that they have something to offer, that they have something to share that's deep, that's meaningful, that can bring hope to others, and that we can find the courage inside, the faith inside, to overcome every battle that's going on inside of us, Heavenly Parents. I know that we're all in a battle inside to fight against our selfishness, against our ego, against our doubt, and our sense of worthlessness sometimes, Heavenly Parents. That we're fighting to listen to your voice that's always constantly screaming that we're enough, that we are made in your image, that we are your sons and daughters, Heavenly Parents. And I know that as you looked upon us and you looked upon each and every one of the testimony givers, the speakers today, that you were proud, that you were watching your sons and daughters challenge themselves, and how much you love each and every one of them, Heavenly Parents. And how much you love each and every one of our brothers and sisters here. And that you just want everyone to be together, that you want all of us to really realize that we are a family that is building a world together that can be good, that can be beautiful, that can be filled with your love and filled with blessing, filled with blessed families, Heavenly Parents, that can praise you, that can really fight for what you are fighting for. Heavenly Parents, we believe that world is possible, even though the whole world says it's not. But we want to believe that it's possible. And we want to move every day going against the grain that this world has, going against the current, and fighting each day for your truth, for your vision, for your ideal to become a reality, Heavenly Parents. So sorry that sometimes, we gave up on that. We got lazy. Sometimes we believed in the lies of the world that sometimes sound so loud. The voices out there. And Heavenly Parents, on this day, we hope that we can recommit ourselves. And we know that we have to recommit ourselves every day, Heavenly Parents. Every day has to be a recommitment. Every day has to be a revival in our hearts. I really pray that on this day that we can receive that revival, that we can receive your spirit, your love, and we can go forward and we can share together and be together once again. Heavenly Parents, thank you so much. And I pray and report this in all of our names. In my name, Justin Okamoto of the Blessed Center family. Haju.
Thank you very much, Justin. Wow, so good to hear from each other, isn't it? Testimonies back again. So let's finish with a closing song. Bring up song team.
Justin's talking about community, so Tongil, Song of Unity is a good way to end our service. Thank you for all your sharing. Some of you are nervous. I've done a lot of singing, in large groups, and someone said something about stage fright to me that really affected me, changed me in a moment. They said stage fright is actually selfish. Because you're thinking about, what are they thinking about me? Instead of thinking, how can I give love and content to them? And as soon as you change that, stage fright disappears. And even in the performing arts world, there's some people who aren't really that talented technically, but they pour their heart out, and that's what catches our hearts. So thank you for overcoming stage fright, but next time, just think about giving, and it goes away. Yeah. Do I look like I have stage fright? I'm a little too confident, I think. Yeah, let's sing together.
for unity, to give our lives for unity, along unity. Unity saving the people, unity saving the nation, competing willingly unity, along unity. God bless you all. Have a wonderful remainder of your weekend.
Yes.